And yes, it is a wonderful Tuesday right here on Citizen 93.7 FM. Good morning to our Super Citizen listeners, and good morning to everyone within the Federal Capital Territory and its environs. A wonderful morning it is for us right here today. My name is Sharon Smith, and it is time for the newspaper review with our in-house analyst, Mr. Salman Salami, and he is the Chief Operating Officer of Citizen 93.7 FM and also a seasoned journalist. Thank you very much for being a part of this morning, sir, and good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, Sheon, and all our Super Citizen listeners.
All right, thank you very much for that. And now let's even head quickly into the papers that we're taking a look at this morning. We'll run through Punch newspaper, Daily Trust, This Day, Vanguard, Leadership, The Guardian, Nigerian Tribune, The Nation newspaper, and also we'll be taking a look at Fact Check News this morning, and kickstarting with the Punch newspaper. On the cover page, it says soldiers killing, Army Delta community defer over reprisal as troops arrest 20. Army Delta community defer over reprisal as troops arrest 20. And next, withheld salaries, SSANU NASU strike grounds varsity. SSANU NASU strike grounds varsities. The Lagos community recalls tales of hardship as bulldozer reduce buildings to rubble. Lagos community recalls tales of hardship as bulldozer reduce buildings to rubble. Rivers teenager arrested for alleged defilement of 11-year-old schoolmate. Rivers teenager arrested for alleged defilement of 11-year-old schoolmate. EFCC recovers 324 houses, documents for Kano pensioners. EFCC recovers 324 houses, documents for Kano pensioners. On the top news of the Punch newspaper, would see that Akwa Ibom lovers arrested for faking kidnap. Akwa Ibom lovers arrested for faking kidnap. PH refinery marketers eye fuel price reduction ready to load. Marketers eye fuel price reduction ready to load. A dollar supply rises to $11 billion. Naira closes 1,572 per dollar. And next, we see that ECOWAS searches for fresh unity as Niger orders attempt sub-regional bloc. ECOWAS searches for fresh unity as Niger others attempt sub-regional bloc. And lastly, we see the tension in Ogun as transport unions clash over ticket sales. Tension in Ogun as transport unions clash over ticket sales. And taking a look at the Daily Trust newspaper, also here on the cover page of Daily Trust, it says that SSANU NASU ground activities in varsities, same as we've seen on the Punch newspaper. Members of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities and the Non-Academic Staff Union yesterday commenced a nationwide strike over alleged unfair treatment and disparity in the payment of salaries by the federal government. The unions threatened last Monday to shut down hostels and power supply in universities across the country if the federal government fails to meet its demands before yesterday, March 18th, 2024. And that you'd find on Daily Trust newspaper. Also on Daily Trust, you'd see that the gallant soldiers mowed down in Delta. The pictures have been unveiled. You find that on Daily Trust newspaper as well. And here as well, Adebayo, Fayoshe, Fayemi, failed to implement Ekiti blueprint, says Afe Babalola. Adebayo Fayoshe Fayemi failed to implement Ekiti blueprint, Afe Babalola. Nasarawa to pay NECO registration fees for final year students. Nasarawa to pay NECO registration fees for final year students. 3 killed in Benue community. 3 killed in Benue community. Food security. Nasarawa to cultivate 10,000 hectares, says Governor Sule. Nasarawa to cultivate 10,000 hectares, says Governor Sule. And now, in regards to Ramadan, YBSG has said we only spent 178 million naira on feeding program. We only spent 178 million naira on feeding program. The Yobe State government has clarified that only 178 million naira was budgeted to feed 16,800 vulnerable persons across the state during the Ramadan period. And you find that story on Daily Trust newspaper, and we've also find that the University of Calabar Vice Chancellor has said we spent 2 billion naira to complete abandoned projects. We spent 2 billion naira to complete abandoned projects, says Unical Vice Chancellor. Next year, we'll see that war veterans lament neglect, beg President Tinubu on welfare. War veterans lament neglect, beg President Tinubu on welfare. FCT women laud President Tinubu Wike over appointment of Adayilo as PermSec. FCT women laud Tinubu Wike over appointment of Adayilo as PermSec. These are the news headlines you'd find on Daily Trust newspaper for today, 19th March 2024. And now taking a look at this day newspaper, Defense Headquarters says there would be measured injurious consequences for killing military personnel. Defense Headquarters, there will be measured injurious consequences for killing military personnel. President Tinubu to Okpebolo, victory is important, present party's flag to Edo Guba candidate. President Tinubu to Okpebolo, victory is important, present party's flag to Edo Guba candidate. New legitimate constitution path to Nigeria's solution, Anyaoku Sanwo-Olu Adebanjo orders declare. New legitimate constitution path to Nigeria's solution, Ania Oku, Sanwo-Olu, Adebanjo, and others declare. Now, federal government eyes $3.6 billion in historic talent outsourcing initiative with Lab 4. The federal government eyes $3.6 billion in historic talent outsourcing initiative with Lab 4. And now the National Bureau of Statistics says stakeholders insist rebasing labor force data may demotivate job creation efforts. Stakeholders insist rebasing labor force data may demotivate job creation efforts. And these are the stories you find on this day newspaper for today. And we as well see that NCC says voice data services affected by undersea cable cut restored. Voice data services affected by undersea cable cut restored. Alleged terrorism financing, court orders Binance to release data to EFCC. Alleged terrorism financing, court orders Binance to release data to EFCC. Court orders Binance to release data to EFCC. And we'd also see on business that ex-NNPC GED launches fuel tracking app, books on oil marketing. Ex-NNPC GED launches fuel tracking app, books on oil marketing. Now, Edo APC in dire need of unity. These are the stories you'd find on this day newspaper for today. And taking a look at Vanguard newspaper on the cover page, you'd also see that aftermath of soldiers' killings, bloodbath in Delta, villagers flee, hide in forest. Aftermath of soldiers' killings, bloodbath in Delta, villagers flee, hide in forest. Residents of Okwama community in Ugeli South local government area, Delta State, who fled into the bush where they have been hiding since March 14th yesterday, narrated how soldiers surprisingly opened fire on them and allegedly killed about 50 persons. This is a story on Vanguard, a newspaper, and would also see that Anyoku Adebanjo Uwanchuku Ata Sonwolu have come forward to say that Nigeria doomed without new constitution. Nigeria doomed without new constitution. And looking at the latest headlines, here would see that killing of soldiers, army tracks militant leader to Bayelsa, seizes Delta community chair. Killing of soldiers, army tracks militant leader to Bayelsa, seizes Delta community chair. And Edo 2024, Ogie emerges as Ighodalo's running mate. Ogie emerges as Ighodalo's running mate. And now we see that Nigeria doomed without new constitution, as previously stated. An energy crisis, vandalism, death, others hinder 8,000 megawatt supply, says the minister. Energy crisis, vandalism, death, others hinder 8,000 megawatt supply, says the minister. And now, subsidy removal, forex liberalization drive FAAC disbursement up 23.9% to 2.1 trillion naira. This is the story you'd find on Vanguard newspaper, where it also says that CBN's donation of fertilizers, and lastly, would see that supports President Tinubu to succeed. Governor Sule advises Peter Obi. Supports President Tinubu to succeed. Governor Sule advises Peter Obi. You'd find that on Vanguard newspaper. And let's take a look at Leadership newspaper with a cover page that says non-academic staff strike grounds varsities. Non-academic staff strike grounds universities. And also in regards to Ramadan, AA Zara seeks tolerance, peaceful coexistence among Nigerians. AA Zara seeks tolerance, peaceful coexistence among Nigerians. Labour Party lawmakers continue fight over convention. Labour Party lawmakers continue fight over convention. Court hears Kanu's 1 billion naira suit against federal government DSS April 18th. Court hears Kanu's 1 billion naira suit against the federal government DSS April 18th. And now we see that police present 1.5 billion naira to deceased officers' families. Police present 1.5 billion naira to deceased officers' families. 11 bodies recovered after soldiers invade Bayelsa community. 11 bodies recovered after soldiers invade Bayelsa community. Nigeria to begin vaccine production soon. Nigeria to begin vaccine production soon. Lastly, we see that new amnesty boss Otuaro assumes duty as Indiomo quits. New amnesty boss Otuaro assumes duty as Indiomo quits. And we'd find that on Leadership newspaper for today. And also Northern Group demands Ningi's reinstatement. Northern Group demands Ningi's reinstatement. And we'd also see here that President Tinubu presents APC flag to Edo Guber candidate running mate. President Tinubu presents APC flag to Edo Guber candidate running mate. Moving on quickly to the Guardian newspaper for today. It says here this morning that inflation, low middle class defer home ownership plans for food. Inflation, low middle class defer home ownership plans for food. As inflation shaves of savings of many low and middle income class Nigerians amid rising construction costs, home ownership plans are being deferred as untamed food prices continue to bite deeply into household incomes. With currency devaluation and stubborn inflation that sees many homes spending over half of their incomes on food, many households are falling off the eligibility ladder for mortgage. And you find the story on the Guardian newspaper. Next, we see that in regards to terrorism, Ohaneze cautions President Tinubu as gunmen abduct dozens in fresh Kaduna attack. Ohaneze cautions President Tinubu as gunmen abduct dozens in fresh Kaduna attack. Metering gaps remain despite 273.3 billion naira loan to discos for meters. Others. Metering gaps remain despite 273.3 billion naira loan to discos for meters and others. A court to hear Kanu's 1 billion naira suit against the federal government's DSS April 18th, pardon me. And would also see that Wike has come forth to say how we saved $53 million from $128 million contract awarded. How we saved $53 million from $128 million contract awarded, says Wike. Now, do not distract President Tinubu with budget padding claim. YCE warns. Do not distract President Tinubu with budget padding claim. YCE warns. That is the Yoruba Council of Elders yesterday warned against any attempt to pull down the President Bola Tinubu-led government over the media buzz generated on the heels of alleged budget padding. The Secretary General, Oladipo Oyewole, in a statement in Ibadan, Oyo State, said the group takes a serious exception to the break back in the media. To get up to speed with the rest of that story, you can get a copy of the Guardian newspaper for today, 19th March 2024. And now taking a look at Nigerian Tribune. On the feature page, it says a circular road and its many agonies. A circular road and its many agonies. Here we see as well that experts prefer ways out of rising inflation. Experts prefer ways out of rising inflation. CBN begins reorganization with sack of directors. CBN begins reorganization with sack of directors. ITUC, Africa's New Year School. Trade unions drive to advance Africa's transformation agenda. Trade unions drive to advance Africa's transformation agenda. And now we'll take a look at the Nation newspaper. Here as well on the cover page is a recurring story in regards to the fallen soldiers. It says Army to Delta community identify killers. Army to Delta community identify killers. The Army last night requested the Okwoma community in Ugeli South local government area of Delta State to identify those who killed its officers and men. It also released the names of those slain. The Army, in a post captioned, "Rest in peace, our fallen heroes," on its X handle, puts their number at 17 and not 16, as widely reported by the media. The Defense Headquarters also retweeted the list. To get up to speed with that, you'd also need to get your hands on a copy of the Nation newspaper to also be familiar with some of the names here. And also, at the half-hour mark, would have an editorial in regards to this particular story done by our in-house analyst, Mr. Salman Salami. So do stay tuned and We'll be here to give you more stories as it goes. And still taking a look at the Nation newspaper, it says here that fleeing killers of operatives will be arrested, says defense ministers. Fleeing killers of operatives will be arrested, say defense ministers. After sacking 12 more CBN directors to go. After sacking 12 more CBN directors to go. Alleged 4.1 billion naira property fraud. EFCC recovers 324 houses for Kano pensioners. Alleged 4.1 billion naira property fraud. EFCC recovers 324 houses for Kano pensioners. And we'd also see that Sani renews call for state police. Sani renews call for state police. Ondo governorship, APC begins sale of nomination forms. Ondo governorship, APC begins sales of nomination forms. And now the Don says how to tackle crisis in power sector. How to tackle crisis in power sector. Budget pardon, ACF under fire for backing Ningi. ACF under fire for backing Ningi, and that is members of the Arewa Initiative for the Defense and Promotion of Democracy have disagreed with the Arewa Consultative Forum over the 3-month suspension slammed on Senator Abdul Ningi. Now, Ningi, who until last Tuesday chaired the Northern Senators Forum, was suspended by the Red Chamber for making unsubstantiated allegation that the National Assembly passed 2 versions of the 2024 appropriation bill. Taking a look at more stories here, it says that Labour Party House of Reps caucus party clash over national convention. Labour Party House of Reps caucus party clash over national convention. And as I stated at the very beginning of this morning's review, that will also be taking a look at Fact Check News aside from the regular this morning. So on Fact Check News, the cover page reads, another time bomb in the making. Another time bomb in the making, child poverty. And it comes to 2 writers that says the data shows staggering, disturbing indices in Nigeria. Data shows staggering, disturbing indices in Nigeria. Second writer says experts suggest way forward. Experts suggest way forward. And now on page 6 of Fact Check News, you'd see that Ned Owanko discloses receipt of 1 billion naira constituency project allocation. Ned Owanko discloses receipt of 1 billion naira constituency project allocation. And as much as we've seen on the Nation newspaper as well, here's a story as well that says alleged budget pardon, Arewa Group condemns Ningi's suspension. You'd find that on page 8 of Fact Check News. Would also see on page 7 a number uncovers 218 ghost workers, sacks 6 deputy directors over fake certificates. A number uncovers 218 ghost workers, sacks 6 deputy directors over fake certificates. Now, young woman who offers self as sacrificial lamb to be buried alive. You'd find that on page 2 of Fact Check News. Young woman who offers self as sacrificial lamb to be buried alive. And would also see on page 3 that CDS vows to arrest culprits behind death of Army commander officers in Delta State. On page 3 of Fact Check News, CDS vows, that's the Chief of Defense Staff, General C.G. Musa, has ordered the immediate arrest and investigation of all those involved and the culprits behind death of Army commander and officers in Delta State. That's the Delta community. And it says here also that Abuja fashion maven Al Hassan seeks Igala support to win Fashion Creep 3rd edition. You find that on page 22 of fact check news that says checking the fact first. And that is the stories we're taking a look at this morning. But before we head over to the analysis for this morning, I would like to implore our Super Citizen listeners to please call in and contribute to the topic of discussion, to the stories that would be taking a look at and analyzing carefully as much. You can call in on 0903 2229 797, 0903 2229 797, or you can send us a message on WhatsApp, and you can also call the number on 0818 222205, 0818 2222205. We'd like to hear from our Super Citizen listeners. It's very much important that you call in, and when you call in, please avoid the use of vulgar language and stick to the topic of discussion. And you have just less than 2 minutes or a little bit more, depending on what it is that you've called in to contribute on. And with that being said, let's go on a very quick break, and when we're back, we'll kickstart the this morning's analysis. And also, we will take a look at an editorial that will be read to us by our in-house analyst, Mr. Salami. Do stay tuned, our listeners. We'll be right back for you. And yes, many thanks for staying tuned. It's about the half-hour mark right here on Citizen 93.7, 30 minutes past the hour of 7 a.m. this morning, it's time for us to select some of the topics and run through them. But then again, there's also the editorial in regards to the death of the soldiers and the killing of soldiers in the Delta State community. And that is an editorial that will be looked into by our in-house analyst. And thank you very much, Mr. Salami, for being here this morning and joining me to review the papers.
Once again, thank you very much, Sheung, and our super citizen listeners. Very good morning to you too.
All right. We're going to kickstart this morning's newspaper review with the cover page of the Punch newspaper that says soldiers killing Army Delta community defer over reprisal as troops arrest 20. The Nigerian Army on Monday said the Ukwama community in the Ugeli South local government area of Delta State, where military personnel were killed, had resorted to propaganda. It denied any form of reprisal on the community as the Punch gathered that about 20 suspects have been arrested. And also on Monday, the Defense Headquarters released the names of the Army personnel who were killed on Thursday during a peace mission to Okwama. The military slammed the community and stressed that no amount of propaganda would stop culprits from being nabbed, while the DHQ vowed that there would be injurious consequences. And now over to you, Mr. Salami.
Good morning once again to our super citizen listeners. Because of the importance of the gruesome killings of our soldiers and officers in Okwama in Delta State, we feel strongly about it. And the station, CCTV FM, being a solution-driven station, has decided to write a powerfully worded editorial. It goes thus: go after the killers of our gallant officers and men of the Nigerian Army. CCC FM Abuja, the former solution-driven broadcast station and progressive talk, is highly saddened by the gruesome, barbaric, dastardly, and despicable act of felling the officers and men of the Nigerian Army. From the reports gathered by Citizen FM, 17 gallant soldiers were gruesomely murdered by these misguided youths who, in plain language, are criminals. The fallen officers and men of the Nigerian Army were on a peace mission to Okwama community in Ugeli South local government area and Okoloba in the Bomadi local government areas of Delta State. The killing is a very sad one, and this is a sad moment for our country. It is pathetic, very much so. From our very painstaking investigation, Citizen FM gathered that some communities, the neighboring communities in the Bomadi and Ugeli South local government, have been engaged in communal land dispute, and the joint task force swung into action. The joint task force swung into action to maintain peace. The fallen soldiers were not a party to the dispute. No, they were just on a peace mission. The premeditated killing was unconscionable, barbaric, gruesome, and dastardly. It is unacceptable. The killers must be fished out. They must be made to face the full weight of the law. While we appreciate the concern and prompt directive by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to the Chief of Staff, General Chris Musa, that he must guide the perpetrators, we, as Citizen FM, thank all the right-thinking Nigerians who have condemned in no unclear terms this unpatriotic act by some misguided youths in Okoma community in Ugeli South local government of Delta State. With all sense of responsibility, we consider this act as an affront not only on the Nigerian army but on Nigeria as a corporate entity. It is treasonable, to say the least. The Chief of Defence Staff, General Chris Musa, should leave no stone unturned in fishing out these bloodletting criminals. We also implore the army not to be deterred by this unfortunate incident, but rather double and redouble their efforts to protect and defend the country and bring terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, insurgents, and other vices plaguing our country to an end, or at the worst, reduce the incidence, since antisocial behavior cannot be completely wiped out in any society. Citizen FM praise and applaud the efforts of the entire security agencies for their professionalism, patriotism, and selfless service to fatherland. Nigerians are behind the army and indeed all our security agencies. We will not allow the labor of our heroes past to be in vain. God bless Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Salami. That's a very long read, if you ask me, and I'm very sure it has definitely addressed, the concerns and also the perceptions of Citizen FM to our listeners and also to the country at large. We stand against the killings of people and also the soldiers that were slain. And now quickly, let's even move on to the next story for this morning. Here also on the Punch newspaper, there's an headline that reads, Akwa Ibom lovers arrested for faking kidnap. Akwa Ibom lovers arrested for faking kidnap. Officers of the Akwa Ibom Police Command have arrested a self-kidnap suspect, Imalbong Samson, and her boyfriend, Beltos Ebong, in Imberiebe Obio village in Besipo, a Sultan area of the state. And this was disclosed by the spokesperson for the state's police command, Odiko Macdon, on Monday. Said they were nabbed in their hideouts by operatives of the anti-kidnapping squad after the case of kidnapping was reported by someone who identified herself as a relative last weekend. Now, Mrs. Salami, sir, what do you think of this story? Because apparently, when we're trying to, move through certain stories, you said it was becoming too much. But now I would like to hear your own take on what you think about the stories of Akwa Ibom lovers arrested for faking kidnap.
Akwa Ibom lovers arrested for faking kidnap. This is criminality. It is criminality at its worst, faking kidnap. And it's not for anything other than for financial gain, for pecuniary gain or interest. It is criminal. Kidnapping in itself and by itself is a criminal act, let alone faking it. And this is getting too much. We had this sometime last year when even a monarch in Lagos State faked his own kidnap. This is unacceptable. We are not a nation of criminals. They are good Nigerians, very brilliant, cerebral, and seminal Nigerians who are holding their own globally, all over the world. It is not in our character, and we will not allow the few bad eggs amongst us to tarnish the good name of this country. God will save this country.
Amen, amen, and amen. Because it's very easy dastardly act if you do ask me. But then again, let's move on quickly to the next story. And in the meantime, would implore our listeners to do call in and also share their own opinion. The number to call is 0903 2229 797 0903 2229 797 or 0818 222205 0818 222205. And now we're taking a look at SS Anu and the NASU strike. It says here that without salaries, SS Anu NASU strike grounds varsities. National President Nigeria Labour Congress Joe Ajaero has called on the federal government to pay the 4-month withheld salaries of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities and Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational Associated Institutions. And this was in reaction to the 7-day warning strike that began on Monday, which grounded universities' activities across the country. Mrs. Salami, over to you, sir.
We have been saying it here times and times over that as Citizen FM, which is a solution-driven broadcast station, we will be critical if there is the need to be critical. We will not be hostile. We need to tell the government the truth. Strike in whatever form and in whatever guise and for whatever time duration is not good for this nation. We have more than enough problem in our hands. We should not allow strike to happen in this country for quite some time to come, and if possible for a long time to come. For the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian University and the non-academic staff union to embark on a warning strike, 7-day warning strike, because of withheld salary that has been withheld for 4 months, is, to say the least, unacceptable. All the warning factors should please, in the name of everything that is good, and because of the future of our youths, should please come to the round table and discuss this. We've been saying it, that Jojo is better than war. Please do the needful. Do it in the best interest of our future leaders, realizing that the so-called future starts from now.
Thank you once again, Mr. Salami, for that plea and also a very brief summary and analysis of that particular story, because it's important. It's like they say, education is the bedrock of knowledge and it's very important. But then again, we move to the next story on the Punch newspaper as well, that reads that tension in Ogun as transport unions clash over ticket sales. Tension in Ogun as transport unions clash over ticket sales. There was palpable fear in Abeokuta, Ogun State's capital, on Monday as members of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, that is the NURTW, and the Ogun State Parks and Garages Management Board clashed over revenue collection. Some of the affected motor parks where fracas were reported at Kuto, Lafenwa, Brewery, Itaoshi, and Obantoko, among others. There were also reports of gunshots during the ensuing melee, while the union members were also said to have macheted themselves. Now, this is Not good. Mr. Salami, what do you say?
This is sad. This is really sad. It is one clash too many. Communal clash or disruption of public peace. Now it is the NURTW, National Union of Road Transport Workers, and the officials of the park and gardens in Ogun State. And this is as a result of what? Who gets what? Who collects what? And in the process, in the melee, they disrupted the peace of the state. People were macheted. There was gunshot, especially around Kuto Garage, Lafenwa, Itaoshin, Obantoku, and some other places. This is not what we need now. A situation whereby members of the National Union of Road Transport Workers and the government officials will clash at will and disrupt the peace, public peace, and in the process send innocent people to the untimely and early grave. Is not the way to go. We cannot continue like this. A situation whereby non-state actors will take over and do as it pleases them is not right, is not proper, is brutish, and it is unacceptable. We call on Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun, the executive governor of Ogun State, to please take more than a passing interest in what is going on and rid our parks, our garages of touts and undesirable elements. We cannot afford to live like this. We must allow the law and the rule of law to prevail, not the rule of man. It cannot also be the rule of thumb. It must be the rule of law. And there should be consequence, dire consequence, for this breakdown of law and order in Ogun State.
Okay, as you've duly stated, Mrs. Salami, thank you very much for that. Now, let's even take a look at the story that says that supports President Tinubu to succeed. Governor Sule advises Peter Obi. Peter Obi was the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, and Governor Sule has come forth to say that the governor of Nasarawa State has called on Mr. Peter Obi to support President Bola Tinubu to succeed. What do you say, sir?
While I would thank His Excellency Engineer A.A. Sule, the executive governor of Nasarawa State, for telling the erstwhile presidential candidate of Labour Party to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a good and timely one. Perhaps it needs no saying that politics is over for now. Campaign is over for now. Election is over. This is the time for governance. And it is the time for those who are holding public office to fulfill their promises, their campaign promises to the people, and deliver the bountiful dividends of democracy to the people. We are all in this ship. We are in this project together. This ship must not capsize. We must come to the harbor peacefully and satisfactorily. It is time for politicians to know that politics is over for now. It is time for governance. And I want our good brother, Mr. Peter Obi, to please support the government and provide alternative solutions. Let superior argument win. God bless this country.
Amen. I do agree with you, Mr. Salami. God bless the country speedily. And now, since it's the season, it's the month of Ramadan, and there's a story here on Daily Trust that says we only spent 178 million naira on feeding program. Says the Yobe State government that has clarified that only 178 million naira was budgeted to feed 16,800 vulnerable persons across the state during the Ramadan period. Mr. Salami.
Well, Ramadan to Muslims is a special month. It's a blessed month. It's a month where Muslims are enjoined to fast, just as it was prescribed for those who are before us. It is the month that we should show compassion. It is the month that we should and must submit totally to the will of Almighty Allah. It is a blessed month. It is a month that we should show compassion and show the less privileged that yes, we are joined by a common humanity. What do I mean by this? It is the month that we should spread joy and make people laugh, and at best feed those who are fasting but cannot feed themselves or break the fast. Nothing is too much. Nothing is too big. To ensure that faithfuls enjoy this month, let us reduce hardship. For Yobe State government to say that they are spending or they are about to spend 178 million for feeding 16,800, it is not even enough. We thank the governor for feeding the people. The essence of governance is the welfare and well-being of the people, apart from the security of lives and property. Feeding people, sarcastically speaking, is part of stomach infrastructure. And there is nothing bad in feeding the people. In actual fact, what people need most, there are just three: food, shelter, and clothing. Feed the people. Let my people smile.
All right, as Mr. Salami has said, feed the people and let them smile. As you know, as much as humans need to exist, they need to exist with three important things: food, clothing, and shelter. So it's important this season of Ramadan, please, as much as you can, feed the people, feed your neighbor, feed yourself as much, and clothe yourself, and make sure you are staying safe. It is a Citizen 93.7 FM, and at this point in time, we've come to the end of this morning's newspaper review. And as usual, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Salman Salami. But before I bring this to a close, and also say thank you to our Super Citizen listeners, Mr. Salami, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
There's nothing more to add than to just tell the Arewa Consultative Forum and the Yoruba Council of Elders to sheath their sword. What is important at this moment is peaceful coexistence.
As he has said, and it's important to note, peaceful coexistence is necessary. We are all one Nigeria. We should not just be looking at tribes and areas, but look at all of us as just one nation. No Yoruba, no Igbo, no Hausa. But in the meantime, it's good to let you know that you should have a wonderful day. Stay safe and please, as much as possible, stay hydrated. The weather is a little bit harsh today, and stay listening to Citizen 93.7 FM. To our super citizen listeners, thank you very much for always tuning in. We love you. We're always here for you. Join us again tomorrow, same time, 7 a.m. for the newspaper review. My name is Sean Smith, and thank you very much, Mr. Salami, as always.
Once again, thank you very much, and we still appreciate you, our super citizen listeners.
All right, have a good day.